It's playoff time once again in the area Lodgebox series. After tonight, we're going to be eliminating 4 more drivers from the their playoff championship hopes going into the final round next week. We're going to see who it's going to be. As always, it's always a tight fight for those final few playoff spots. We'll get to it and we'll give you a look at the standings in just a little bit. But first things first, my name is Trinity Guna here with Eric Wineland. Eric, glad to have you in the booth for the first time. Always nice to have a different voice in the Sim TV booth. I know you've covered the series many times in the past and now currently an admin for it, but glad to have you in the booth with me.
Yeah, Finian, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me up here tonight. Very excited to watch the Lodgebox series and get to call it again. And this quite a bit in season 1 of the area iRacing Xfinity series. Here at Michigan, playoff cutoff races, man, they are the most stressful, Finian. We got a lot of guys sitting right on that bubble tonight.
Indeed we do, and in fact, we'll take a look at it here as qualifying's just getting underway. We'll take a look at the driver standings first things first. James Scully locked in because he's been pretty much dominating the playoffs so far. I think we were talking about it before we went live, has won every single race in the playoffs so far. Alan Ellwood, Shane Tarrant also doing really well for themselves, 23 points above the cutoff line. I think they're almost pretty much locked in based on points alone, but I think there's still a little chance that they may drop out. However, the main thing we're going to be looking at, 4th, 5th, and 6th, all those guys within 8 points of each other could see a big change of position there.
Oh, absolutely. It's been a tale of many stories here in the Lodgebox series. Scioli, this incredible winning streak that he put himself on here late in the season through the postseason has him sitting perfect, but the most consistent drivers out here have been Alan Elwood and Shane Thieren. They have the highest average finish in the series so far this season, so no surprise that they have big gaps. But man, Cameron Hearn, Davey Hendricks, Bryce Senesac, this race couldn't be any closer, and it's going to come to a point tonight here at Michigan. I'm excited. Yeah, and Garrett Grant and Richard Thomas at the tail end. They're probably going to need a win or a Hail Mary to get themselves in there. Let's take a look at the team standings. The Elwood Designs Esports doing really well, 1,265 points to their name. Bell Weisenhart Esports a little bit in behind with Elite Entertainment Gaming and Transcendent Motorsports in 4th. Rounding out your team standings. We'll cut to the live shot because guys out there qualifying, and Davey Hendricks, we're talking about him being in the cutoff. He's doing really well for himself in qualifying at the moment with the first 6 guys putting down times. Yeah, I'm surprised to see a couple guys go out early, Finian. Being a driver myself in the truck series, I always tended to wait for the track to maybe cool off throughout the session. It is 3 p.m. sim time here at the virtual Michigan International Speedway, but Davey Hendricks looking good, but Cameron Hearn just laid down a lap, man.
Indeed he did. He laid down specifically a 39.378 to put himself up on pole. We'll see if that's going to be good enough for pole. Still waiting on some more guys to put down some time. Shane Tarrant in the 38 car rolling out there. We mentioned he's sitting really good in the points. Obviously, you don't want to completely rest on that because we've seen many times the entire running order getting changed up. We saw in the truck series on Tuesday, some guys who we thought were looking pretty good ended up getting some damage late in the going, put them out of contention, and some of them almost out of the playoff picture entirely. So many things can go wrong, many things can go right for Shane Tarrant across the line. First lap, 39.49, up into 4th.
Watching these drivers take times, it looks like lap 1 is the better pace right now. A lot of guys getting it done on lap 1. Shane Thieren continuing on. Andrew Santo coming across the line, completing his qualifying run, 39.675 there for the driver.
An interesting thing, too, is looking at Shane Tarrant on the track. He's the only car actually out on the track putting a qualifying time. You can see this huge list of guys who've yet to put down a time. I imagine they're waiting till the end of the session to put in their final laps.
See what Thieren manages to put up here. A little slower lap 2, 5.91 compared to his 4.57 he laid down. So, yeah, lap 1 looking like the strong point here, Finian, and now we get a little bit of a break, it seems, before anyone else wants to tempt fate and try to start on the pole.
Yeah, I was gonna say some bigger names. Obviously, James Scioli. Not really of a concern because, as we mentioned, he's very much locked in. I'm just curious. Do you think he's gonna try? I mean, obviously, at this point, you might as well, right? You might as well try to extend your win streak if you've been doing so well.
Yeah, keep momentum rolling. That would be the big thing for James Scioli tonight. Points reset after this round, and everybody sits even at that point. Playoff points don't matter anymore. going into the championship round. It's however high you can finish it compared to the other three guys you're racing against. So why not James Scioli go out here, see if he can find something in qualifying that may work at Las Vegas next week, or see if he can just keep that ball rolling. Momentum's a big thing, Finian. Despite being different tracks for each of the last 3 weeks that we've gone to, momentum can carry a long way. And like it said, this playoff run is incredible from James Scioli.
And also, before we continue on with qualifying, there's a few more drivers starting to poke their heads out of the hole and get out on the track. Got to thank Area iRacing.shop. Fans, be sure to check out Area iRacing.shop for merchandise to represent your favorite driver. Shop from our collection of t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, stickers, and more using the code STRIPE for 10% off. That's STRIPE, STRIPE. For 10% off. That's Area iRacing.shop. Glad for them to be on board as we go on board with Ellwood out on the track. Also doing very well in the points. Not necessarily a concern, just a matter of just kind of getting out of here, out of Michigan in one piece in his number 49 machine.
Plus 23 to the cut coming into the race tonight, and we'll stay on board for this lap because this is going to be pretty much how you want to run a qualifying lap. Elwood, one of the best qualifiers of the series, not only best in terms of average finish, but in terms of average start. Elwood sits up at the top of drivers that have more than one start this season.
Yeah, I'm always
qualifying average third this season.
Yeah, I'm always jealous of people who are really good at qualifying because I can never get the. I'm good at long runs. I'm good at managing my pace, but I can never quite get the tires and just get the momentum to put all that into one single lap without any mistakes. And some guys are really, really good at it. We'll see if Alan did his job as he comes across the line.
Looks pretty solid from Elwood right there. 31.327 pole position currently for the driver of the number 49 Toyota Supra.
And we'll see if anyone else can take it away from Chris Seidenfeiten in the 45. He's out rolling on track, rolling through 3 and 4. We'll see if as he comes out of turn 4, if he's got enough to upset the order up the top of the field, take Alan Ellwood off the top step, across the line, 39.386. That's going to be pretty quick. Not quick enough, only in third.
Not the lap that Chris Seidenfeiten probably was looking for, but one he'll definitely take going into the race. Now here's the man. Guy on the hot streak, James Scioli. Pretty much, Finian, these drivers don't really want to get down to this yellow line. A little less banking down there in that bottom lane. See all of the racing action pretty much take place above that first seam. A couple guys will try to make a slide job work down low, but most of the run you're going to see up on the middle to top of the racetrack.
Yeah, and Scioli, as much as he's dominating, not going to dominate qualifying at the very least. Going to be only second and behind Alan Ellwood in the 49. Trying to look at any other. Still quite a few guys out left to put a lap down. Jose Ruiz in the 23.
This is a driver that has not made very many starts this season. Jose Ruiz, only 10 starts for the season out of the 16 races we've started this far, and average qualifying position of 20th. So we're going to make something happen here in this number 23. Yeah, he's not particularly one to put himself up front. He'll work his way forward, but as far as qualifying pace, not expecting a ton out of this number 23 Chevrolet Camaro.
And we'll see if he's got anything to work with here as he's coming through the final few corners, up out of turn 4, close to the wall. I'm going to cut it back down low. Not going to dive below the white line like we see many other drivers do, but he will come across the line. 40 flat pretty much is going to put him pretty much near the bottom in 15th. Going to continue on for a second lap. No one else out. Ricky Harden, David Weishart, Matthew Rodriguez, Jacob Hudson, Robert F. Kenny. Oh, that's a familiar name I haven't seen in a while. Looks like they're going to be sitting out qualifying. They don't have enough time to get on the track and put a lap down.
You see a lot of green toward the top part of the board. You got, 6 of the 8 current playoff drivers up there in the top 8. And then Richard Thomas and Garrett Grant not too far back. Expected more out of Garrett Grant in qualifying. Then again, he was the only driver that put down at least a 10-lap average in practice. These guys had a refreshed session, Finney, and this is something we'll talk about a little bit tonight. There was some setup issues on the original session that was put up. The setup had 65 tape and they were overheating after 5 laps. So it took quite a significant piece of tape off, down to 30% on these cars. It's going to affect the handling a ton tonight, especially on the long run. Yeah,
props to admins to doing quick work with that and getting a new session put up for these drivers so that we can get a good show going on. I just want to take a quick look at the playoffs before we go on to gridding. And we're talking about Garrett Grant and Richard Thomas not particularly doing a good job in qualifying. Thomas starting in 10th, Grant starting in 13th, but look at the deficit that they have to the cutoff points. It's looking a little bit less likely. They are going to need a Hail Mary, and they're going to probably need some things to go wrong for guys like Hearn, Hendricks, and Senizak. We got 95 laps on tap. A lot of things can go wrong.
Hey, and miracles can happen, Finian. We've seen, if not, definitely the truck race on Tuesday night, if not also the Cup race on Monday night. Michigan's turned it into quite the fuel mileage racetrack. These 2-mile ovals, because we raced Auto Club earlier this season, it was also a fuel mileage race there for quite a significant portion of the race. So Hail Marys can be thrown and caught tonight, and we're looking forward to it as we get set for the grid here at Michigan.
Indeed, let's go through your starting lineup. Starting on pole, as we mentioned, Alan Ellwood in the 49 machine, rolling on the inside lane of row number 1. James Skyler going to be starting in second in the number 7 car. Back in behind them, Cameron Heard's going to be rolling off in the 67 in third. Chris Seiden fighting in the 45 in fourth.
Rolling off fifth tonight, Danny Ware, one of the non-points drivers for the Elwood Design Eastward team. He can just help his teammates out tonight. Davey Hendricks, playoff driver, starting 6th. He's right on that bubble cut. We're going to have a good night. Row number 3. Row number 4, Shane Fearon to the inside of Bryce Senisak. Roll off here in the playoff race.
Moving on back to 9th, Colin Famro in the 54 is going to be lining up on the inside. Next to him, Richard Thomas in the one car in 10th place. Rolling in behind them in 11th, Travis Beckner in the 28. Jordan Martin in the 77 in 12th place.
Not a particularly strong qualifying effort for Garrett Grant, starting 13th, but expect that driver to move toward the front as the runs get deeper and deeper. While Andrew Santo, the outside there in 14th.
Moving on back
with Jose Ruiz, with David Weishart starting without a qualifying time in 16th.
Yeah, and everyone else did not put a qualifying time down. Ricky Harden in the 15 and 17th. Robert F. Kenny in 18th in the 01. Matthew Rodriguez in the 57 and 19th. Jacob Hudson going to be rounding out your field of 20 cars for this race. As we get all these guys, 10 rows of cars lined up. Before we go live, let's take a look at your weather. Seeing how it is on the track. 74 degrees in the air, track temp 111, so a little bit warm, not completely toasty, so I'm sure he's going to enjoy that a little bit, although I'm sure they wish it was probably cooler.
That track temp will rise here at the start of the race before it starts to fall. Remember, it is just about 3:30 in sim time, so it'll come up and that sun starts to get at that weird angle and it'll fall away.
Pace car making left turn on a pit lane, feeling control of Alan Ellwood in the 49. He's off the gun, and here we go, green at Michigan. Field rocketing out of turn 4 back to the start-finish line, and it's Alan Ellwood still in the front, Cameron Hearn in second, James Scully actually dropping back to third.
To nobody's surprise, this race has started a single file out. These guys want to get a feel for these long runs. Like I said, nobody ran more than, except for Garrett Grant, nobody ran more than 10 laps on a single run in practice leading up to this qualifying and race session. So a lot to learn here in these early laps. Alan Ellwood doing the best of it right now with this clean air. Cameron Hearn probably learning the most in the dirty air just behind him.
And looking at a battle between Bryce Senizak and Colin Famro. Famro getting past the chase driver, or sorry, playoff driver, The 09, so he's going to settle in behind. As you mentioned, though, most of the field single filed out. One driver notably already on the back foot. Garrett Grant not having a good stop. 2 laps in, already dropped back from 13 to 19. Here's if there's a problem for the 5, or do you think maybe he's just trying to take this run easy?
This is where he starts to thrive. He's going to sit back here and learn more about this long run pace in the car. Garrett Grant was season 1 was touted as one of the best long run racers in the league across all of the series. Season 2, he hasn't quite held up to that title, but expect him to take his time to learn and move his way through the pack. Or to his teammate there side by side with Danny Ware.
Indeed, trying to go side by side, not quite there by corner entry. Ware trying to work the outside. Chris Seidenfeiden in 4th in the 45 Mobile 1 car. Going to stay in 4th at the moment, but the top 3 starting to close back in. Elwood trying to see if he can get back at Cameron Hearn. Although he's got to deal with a mirror full of James Scioli.
We'll swap for the lead there. Cameron Hearn got a run on Alan Elwood, decided to take it. And he's going to set sail out in the clean air right now.
Did I see Elwood go on the clutch?
I would not be surprised if he's doing something like that this early. I did not expect this to be a 1-stop race. It's pretty much right on a 2-stop. Tried to take our best guess at it on the fuel number. Didn't get a chance to run any practice myself before this, but
yeah, he's definitely on the clutch.
He's saving fuel.
So he's already fuel saving very early on the race. Usually only start to see that maybe halfway through once guys start to get their numbers mixed up. So yeah, I'm quite surprised. I guess maybe he feels he can get by on 1-stop, or maybe just saving extra fuel towards the end. Not quite sure what the 49's got planned, although I do know what's happening is that Scioli's working his inside. Trying to see if he can get the edge up on him. Chris Seidenfein also entering the fray. He's going to make it 3 wide down the front stretch. Let's see. No, he decides to duck back in behind 7.
Having learned a lot more about fuel save after Tuesday night, Finian, I don't think Alan Elwood wants to be on the top side of the racetrack. Of course, yes, he can run the pace that he wants to run, but a longer distance around the racetrack compared to being able to get to the bottom.
Yeah, it was
so he's going to slide back to 4th there.
He did really good at fuel saving, finished 2nd. Still single file heading off into 3 for most part. Some minor change for position here and there. As you mentioned, Shane Terrian going a little bit out of the lane. Colin Fambro smells blood in the water. Is going to snake his way on through on the inside. And Bryce Senesac also trying to make a move.
Senesac's in a go mode right now as he continues to hound the back bumper of Fambro. One of those playoff bubble drivers we've documented and will continue to document throughout tonight's race. So that first seam, he's going to wrap the bottom, but he's not going to have the momentum to carry on Colin Fambro.
Yeah, that outside lane, that run off the corner, it's very hard to beat in many cases, especially early on. So, unfortunately for Santo, going to have to lose that spot, but still got that spot up on Terrian, who is under attack. Andrew, how do you say his last name again? Sorry, I just want to make sure.
Santo.
Santo. Oh, okay. I'm really horrible with names.
Changed for the lead off of turn 4 up here at the front. James Scioli, the man with the momentum to the front. A big hearty push from Chris Seidenfein right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't expect him to get it so early on, but and Seidenfein moving on as well. So I'm not sure what happened to her, and I guess just got out of the lane, or it's just car starting to come away from him a little bit from that early lead. But as you mentioned, new leader. Oh, Carden in the back on the straightaway. Colin Fambro around to the inside. Senesac involved. That's going to have some championship implication as the caution comes out. What happened to him? That's surprising.
The only playoff driver to end up with an issue. The other driver that we saw get tangled in there on the bottom right there, Andrew Santo, race control had just asked him about a lap prior to pull out of line for some connection issues.
Yeah, we saw that on the broadcast as well. I'm guessing maybe that might have played into factor. Let's take a look here at the replay. Oh,
missed the line bumper.
Yeah. Oof. So Santo's actually involved.
See there, Davey Hendricks just trying to roll up to the back bumper of Fambro, and Colin kind of covered the bottom a little bit, probably not wanting Davey to make a move to the bottom, getting into 3 and taking a position away. And instead, Davey just rolled right up to his right rear and a little bit of bumper hook sent Colin into the outside wall, and it was on from there.
Yeah, take another look at it here. See a little bit offset, and yeah, just mistimed it. 54 hard into the wall. Senesac nowhere for him to really go try to avoid it, and then Santo just piling in near the end. So unfortunate set of circumstances for these drivers. Cut back live, so it's going to be down in the pits for the 54 and a few others getting repairs. See what the leaders do. Scioli, Seidenfein staying out. Everyone else pretty much coming in. Interesting.
And this looks like a carbon copy of Tuesday night's race.
You did. Exactly. Yeah, you're exactly right. 2 guys stayed out. Everyone else coming in at around the same time too. I think it was around like lap 5 or 6. So pretty much around the same time.
Yeah, the early caution happened, I believe, yeah, you're right, lap 5 or lap 6 in the Truck Series race on Tuesday night, which, of course, you can catch here on Sim TV. Shout out to you guys. But two drivers chose to stay out, then one of them being a playoff driver. Now, obviously, James Scioli, 3 wins on the season. He can do whatever he wants because he's locked in. Why not experiment? Maybe save an extra set of tires or something. But all these other guys playing the fuel game. So that fuel save strat that we saw out of Ellwood, probably won't see him clutch anymore.
Ooh.
Probably take care of it, as now you're going to go green with probably, what, say 83 laps to go, Finian. It makes it a pretty easy 2-stop, maybe even a 1-stop if you can stretch it about 42 laps on a stint.
Yeah, I also want to take a look here. I keep forgetting we don't have the times in the graphic. I should tell that to Cal and add that. Here's seeing Davey Hendricks. He's dropping to the back. Took fuel only on that stop. I think fuel only, 6 seconds. Is 6 seconds enough for tires?
So Davey Hendricks, 7 seconds stalled in the box, according to my telemetry that I also use while I race. I happen to use that tonight for the podcast, Finian. You guys won't see that here on your screens, but I at least have something to look at. So yeah, Davey and Penny, as well as Garrett Grant and Matthew Rodriguez, all on fuel-only strats. The rest of the drivers have taken tires, and actually a couple were stopping back in again to top it off.
Yeah, here's actually Matthew Rodriguez we talked about, just came in fuel-only, so he's going to come in, I guess decided not to do that, and decided to get tires. It's going to cost him. It's going to put him pretty much towards the back of the field, but I guess figured maybe tires are worth it, or is he topping off? Oh, you think he just topped off? Interesting. You guys come in and top off.
I would say purely the reason of coming back down here and giving up the track position that you had, Finian, is to top it off. Just have that little bit of extra fuel in the tank. We saw that play a big factor in Tuesday night's race again, because the guys that did not top off, Ryan Swan and Jacob Bell, ran out of fuel in turn 3, and the guy who did topped off, Cameron Hearn, went on to win the race. I won't tell you who finished second.
I think I already said that. I think I already spoiled it.
I don't want to toot any horns, but
so here's Garrett Grant. So with Rodriguez coming in, it's Garrett Grant that's out there, fuel only. Everyone else in behind is pretty much taking tires. I actually think except a few guys towards the back. Shane Terrian, I think, only he came in a second time, I think, to top off. So Terrian, Kenny, Rodriguez, and Hendricks, all the drivers to come in to top off on fuel.
These guys started the race with 4 sets of tires, 3 sitting in the pits. So if they've taken a set, that leaves 2 in the pits. But for a guy like Garrett Grant, he has that extra set in the bank. Covers both strategies. He covers the fuel strat. If he needs to use the extra set of tires late on a late race yellow, he's got that strat covered too. We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, we definitely see how it plays out, because you never quite know when you need those tires, if a caution's going to come out. We'll see as we come back to the restart. Scaoli leading them down, off and away. Green back out in the air here at Michigan. And Grant already fighting with Seidenfein off of turn number 2. You see Alan Elwood trying to build up the run behind. We're going to see 3 wide off the corner. Maybe not 3 wide, but Elwood looking to the outside lane.
Last thing these guys that pit for fuel want to do is create another yellow flag incident where it can put the other 2 drivers that are out here on an island on their same strategy. They want to try to weed out drivers as they go throughout the race. So expect Alan Elwood, Cameron Hearn, Danny Ware, Travis Beckner to take it pretty easy here. Garrett Grant as well. Don't want to see any quick yellows here to make this fuel strategy work.
Yeah, you don't want to upset the strategy that you're on. Ooh, in the background, Garrett Grant really tight in the corner. He's got to be careful. A lot of guys rocketing around him, pinching him to that inside lane as he's just getting shuffled on back. Same thing with Seidenfein, already back in second. Here comes Alan Elwood, though, to the inside of the 7, looking for the lead of the race. And we'll get it done fairly easily. Not surprising, seeing a difference in about 10 laps worth of tires between the two. Here comes Cameron Hearn. Also working to the inside. Should be pretty easy work for the 67.
Keep a loose eye, Finian, here at the back of the pack as well. Colin Fambrough, Davey Hendricks are actually nose to tail again at the rear of the field, the tail end of the field. Race control saying they want to make sure they keep the situation cool between the two drivers. So a little bit of a worry from race control on the 54, probably not being happy with the 94, but Davey's done enough damage right now. He's at the tail end of the field, and in his point situation, he needs to be ahead of Hearn by a couple positions, and he's not doing that currently.
A couple shuffles for position, and everyone's trying to work their way up, especially through the guys that have not decided to pit. So do you think that the guys that didn't decide to come down, do you think this was the bad call, or do you think, long run, you think this is going to be better for them?
It depends if these guys on the field strategy, Finian, can eliminate the stop. And I feel like with them being fairly certain by making that early pit stop on the early yellow, that they feel they can definitely eliminate a stop. So if they're doing so, bad news for Chris Seidenfaden and James Scioli, because they'll have to make an extra stop, which is an additional set of time lost. Almost thinking about it like a road course race, right? You want to minimize your time in the race, and with an extra stop, you're not doing that. So a lot of these drivers keeping that in their back of their minds. I still think maybe we'll get a chance to ride on board here a little bit later. Alan Elwood may still be trying to save a bit of fuel out front, even though he has about almost a second advantage.
Hey, it's never too early to save fuel. I mean, the earlier that you do it, the better off. Oh yeah, he's still saving. No matter where he can, he's trying to save fuel, trying to save. He's not trying to save the planet by doing so. He's trying to make sure he can go a little bit further. So I guess he's still got the fuel mileage concern, which I guess makes sense, right? Because we did see a handful of drivers come in to top off on fuel under that last caution. So he's just trying to be careful a little bit more. Because we did see some guys have to back way off. I know Ryan Hartz and Jacob Hall had to back off really far off in the truck race to the point where they lost the lead by almost half a lap because they just did not save enough. So some of these guys just trying to expand their strategies, make sure that they have enough and that it's not an issue when they need it the most. You see Shane Terrian working up through the order, getting past 45 and the 7. We're currently back in 9th and 11th. Garrett Grant back in 13th, actually just slipped to 14th as Jacob Hudson just rocketed around him in the 22.
If I'm Garrett Grant, I'm starting to get a little concerned about my pace. I want to position myself closer to the top 10 with these guys that are on the same strategy in terms of fuel. I don't want to lose any sort of lead pack draft. Although the Xfinity cars probably have the least amount of downforce of the 3 series that we run here at Area, the draft still matters, especially down the straightaways. By themselves, they were doing maybe 193 at top speed. In the draft, they're touching up over 196, almost 197 before barreling off into the corners. So draft's significant enough to, and of course, it helps save fuel.
Yeah, unfortunately for Elwood, he can't save fuel with the draft because he's out in front. Doesn't have that option. Riding on board with Travis Beckner, sitting in 4th, up 7 places from where he started back in 11th. Trying to look to the outside of Danny Ware. He's been one of the only guys really trying to make this outside lane work. Everyone's pretty much sticking to that middle seam, but he's trying to see if he can find some way around the 18. He's going to get a really solid run, though, off of turn 2. He's actually going to look to the inside, get a quarter panel to the inside of the 18, trying to make it work on the inside and behind the 33, trying to make the move work, but a slide jump on the 28, gonna just force Ware out of position. He'll get 3rd place.
Honestly, the toughest position right there went to the 77 of Jordan Martin. He's already been sitting on the outside of David Weishart for a couple laps and not having anywhere to go while these two slowed each other down in front of him. Not exactly the best place you want to be, but hey, top 6 right now for the driver in the number 77. Can't complain with that. He's on the leader strategy, so we'll see what he can do as we got a yellow on the racetrack.
Oh, that's going to change some things. What caused it? Ooh, I see Colin Fambrough, who's already involved in the first yellow, slow out of turns 1 and 2. Right on board. What happened to him? Uh-oh. I have a sneaking suspicion of what happened here. Oh, yeah. Round he goes.
There was some contact between these two for the first incident of the race. Wow, what a close miss there for Matthew Rodriguez.
Back goes right on board with Rodriguez.
This changes the fuel strategy a little bit, as much as that matters. Wow.
Good job on Rodriguez.
As a driver, that is the worst feeling when you see a car coming back up the racetrack, because you have such a finite amount of time to make a decision. Do you go left and get underneath him, or do you go up around the top, try to figure out which way he was going to spin? Matthew, whether he was lucky or he chose based off of intelligence right there, that was a big move for the 57 and make sure he has a race car for the rest of this race.
Yeah, I'm curious though why Hendricks did that. Is there some previous beef between these two? Because they already had the incident early on, right? And Hendricks is already, I think, under a microscope for that. So I'm curious why he just went and turned the 54 again, unless we missed something. But something might have happened between the two before.
This was about 6 to 7 seconds off the leaders as everybody's coming down pit road right here. We'll watch these guys as they make the stop. But yeah, this incident happened at least 7 seconds back from the lead pack. So I'm not sure if Davey was fed up with Colin, or if Colin was trying to hold Davey up and cost him more. Or we'll see what race control decides on these set of incidences. Looks like 4 tires and a full tank of gas for all these drivers on pit road.
Yeah, that's what I feel like at this point, especially the guys that stayed out. You're pretty much going to have to come down for something at this point. Others are really going to fall through the order, but order getting mixed up just a little bit. Actually, not that much. Richard Thomas, though, I gotta say, he's been. I was about to start talking about him before we went back, before that caution came out. He's actually starting to do pretty good. Moved up, was running around 6th before that caution came out. Is now up to 4th. With the way things have cycled through, so he's putting himself in a better position again. He's still in a bit of a hole. In fact, we'll actually take a chance to take a look at the points one more time. Taking a look, Davey Hendricks with the potential of getting a severe penalty because he caused the first caution. You can't really argue that he didn't cause the second caution. So penalty, potentially a severe penalty coming to Hendricks. That can take him out of the running for that spot. Cameron Hearn, though, is doing really well. Senizak is out. So Grant and Thomas are pretty much the next ones that are looking in. Although I think they're going to have to kind of hope at this point that Cameron Hearn has something catastrophic happen to him.
It has happened. In the Truck Series race at the Roval, Cameron Hearn's power went out, and that cost him his chance to race the championship in the Truck Series. So I wouldn't put it past anything happening. Anything can happen.
Oh,
we've already seen tonight that a playoff driver was involved in some issues. Race control opting that this one was not a specific fault of either driver.
No.
They're going to call it a racing incident, but both drivers are already at the tail end of the field.
I'm guessing
put it a decisive you caused the caution type of deal. So they said just call it a racing incident. They were both at the back anyway. We'll move on with, but they have, Finian, they have been called to the area hauler post race. So
that's
94 and 54 they're going to get a talking to by the admin team, which as an admin myself, the Cup Series on Monday nights, those are never fun to give.
No, they're not. But I mean, pending some post-race penalty, which I'm at the moment, I'm not sure if that is going to happen to the 94. He's looking okay. He didn't get any I was thinking maybe he come pass through under green or something. I'm not sure what the next penalty after 2 incidents are, or if it's just an EOL again. But he's still already in the back of the pack anyway, as you mentioned. So, but he's still in the running. And that car is looking okay, unless Colin Farmer decides it's to not be okay. Actually, where is Farmer? Farmer's sitting in 11th at the moment.
Yeah, you did hit the nail on the head. Area rulebook says first cause that's blatant is an EOL, which Davey got on that first caution. Second cause of an incident, you get a drive-through under green. If you cause 3 incidents in the race,
you're out.
That are pretty blatant and not just racing incidents, yeah, you're done for the night. So hopefully, and to those of you new at area, that has been the rule all season long as we get ready for the restart here. Hopefully they don't get to that point.
Yeah, I was going to say, hopefully they don't, but you never quite know. A lot of racing still left to go. And Elwood going to be the one to lead him back to green. He's off and away. Decent start for the 49. He's been doing a solid job at getting those starts. Cameron Hearn trying to get going and under pressure from Travis Beckner. He's going to try to look to the inside on the restart. Can't quite get there. Richard Thomas trying to make something happen on the outside lane.
3 wide. Danny Ware with a huge move in the background there. And here comes Richard Thomas to the outside of Travis Beckner and the 15 of Ricky Harden. What a restart there for the one. That was such a broken restart, too. A couple different drivers did not get going there. We're all up to speed by now here into turn 3.
Yeah, some guys sleeping low. The 15 looking loose. I was going to say he was looking really loose on the inside of 1 and 2 because he was just trying to force his car to the inside. 3 wide, though, for third place. These guys are absolutely going at it. Ware making the move up below the bottom of the white line. That's legal at every place but Daytona and Talladega, so he's going to take advantage of it. Still going to keep that car to the inside. The 1, Thomas not yielding on the outside, though, trying to get the run off the corner. It's an absolutely chaotic restart.
Yeah, the racing definitely coming out now. The fuel is not really as much of a question. These guys need to make one stop to the end of the race. All pitting right there, so why not do 3 wide into turn 3? What a move from David Weishart. Can he hang on to it on the bottom?
Yeah, starting in 16th up into 4th, 3rd as he's trying to race with the 18 side by side. I think the 18's going to have a bit of an advantage. And these guys are actually catching up to the leaders despite the fact they're battling side by side. And he actually, in fact, here comes Cameron Hearn trying to make a move on Elwood.
So cleaning up something I just heard over the radio, Davey Hendricks said you tried. So Colin Fambro, I think, took a swipe at the 94. Okay. Was unsuccessful. We're 3 wide, looking 4 wide off of turn 2. What a move here on the bottom by Shane Theron.
Oh,
what
4
a
wide.
Run.
Hello. 4 wide going off into turn 3. This could be either really good or really bad for some guys. Hearn backing off, wanting nothing to do with it. We're also backing off. Weishart and Terry are racing it. Where on earth did these guys come from? They were nowhere near the front on the restart.
David Weishart, excuse me, just went from being a bottom feeder to the Highline hero right there. He's going to lead this lap at the line by just a nose over Shane Theron. What a move from these two drivers, carrying that run all the way to the front. And Elwood and Hearn nowhere to be found. They just got swallowed up here by the pack.
Yeah, and actually they completely did. Hearn back in 5th, Elwood back in 7th. Both of them yielding because they didn't want to be involved in that. And I think what we're seeing, actually, you didn't get a chance to mention it before we went back green, those guys not taking fresh tires. That's why a lot of these guys, Terry and Weishart, Ware, Martin, all did take 4 fresh tires on that last restart. So we're seeing them making advantage of it. James Scioli also taking tires, so he's trying to move up forward as the 49 and company dropping back.
That's a good pickup there, Finian, because I didn't even notice. Cameron Hearn, Ricky Harden did not take... Cameron Hearn did not take tires. Ricky Harden might have taken 2 rights with his stop time, but Alan Elwood also opted to not take tires, as well as Richard Thomas and Travis Beckner. A couple playoff guys risking some strategy there with Richard Thomas and Elwood obviously opting to not take tires on this stop. Alan Elwood's got the cushion to play with, Finian. Richard Thomas is in no position to be sitting toward the back of the pack. He's going to be hoping for a late race yellow to use an extra set of tires. Yeah,
we're seeing with those 2 cautions completely throwing everyone for a loop. Many guys taking completely different strategies. The strategies are basically a mess for the most part. There's so many different strategies at play at the moment. I think everyone's just kind of hoping they made the right play. At the moment, though, it's Terrian and Weishart up in the front. Weishart not giving this up, trying to look to the outside of Terrian. As both these guys slowly breaking away as Danny Ware, Jordan Martin, breaking away from the rest of the pack. Ricky Harden pretty much leading the second group of drivers. As I mentioned, that Scioli now looking to the inside of the 15, trying to take 5th. And look who's in the mix of this. Davey Hendricks also taking advantage of getting fresh tires. And he's trying to move his way slowly but surely to the front.
Colin Fambro nowhere nearby to affect.
Fambro is struggling, though. He's 7 seconds back. As we're probably not surprised he's gotten damage from 2 different wrecks. So
he's not in a position to affect the 94's race, but he will not. A driver never forgets.
No.
So come later in the race, we'll have to keep a loose eye on this 94 and see where he ends up. Meanwhile, he's actually the fastest driver on the track last lap. Was the 94 of Davey Hendricks, and he's starting to work his way through the rest of this traffic. He's going to follow Chris Seidenfeld and James Scioli on fresh tires past design eSport driver Ricky Harden right there.
Yeah, they're going to try to chase down the leaders. Have already hiked about a 2-second lead to this group in behind. It's still Terrian and Weishart, Ware and Martin about to do battle. Those Ware's going to slide up the track just a little bit. 77 trying to get close to him. Try to take a look at where everyone ended up. Alan Elwood dropping all the way back to 13th, and this is really what the strategy can do to you. You play it right, play it wrong. Again, it's obviously too early to tell if it's really the right strategy or the wrong strategy, but it's definitely put him in a not so good place on track back in 13th.
And Finian, that's the toughest thing. As a driver, when you don't have a spotter or a crew chief to rely on like you do in the sim, and obviously you can go out and get someone to help you out with that sort of thing, or you can use like telemetry apps. Not having those tools at your disposal makes your strategy calls so difficult because you have to think so much ahead. You have to be really good at math as a sim racer.
Oh, yeah.
You got to do a lot of calculating on the fly. Hey, maybe you drive with one hand and try to use your cell phone to do some quick math on the calculator there. Tough to make strategy calls, especially when they change like they have with a couple of different untimely yellows, if you will, throughout the race tonight. So we'll see what they can do. Meanwhile, these two coming to the front. Seidenfeld and Scioli continuing to work together. They're trying to close the gap to Jordan Martin, Danny Ware, Weishart, and Shane.
You already got to see how spread out the field is at the moment compared to what it was at the initial start. That's really just purely due to guys taking tires at completely different times. You saw guys take tires on the first caution, guys taking tires on the second caution. Some guys not even just taking 4 tires, some guys taking 2 tires as well. And for some of them, I think it's worked, and some of them it hasn't. And I think really for guys like Alan Elwood and Cameron Hearn, who's 12th or 13th and 12th respectively, I think they're really hoping this run, we don't go green to the end, because I think they're going to be really kicking themselves, because it's not going to be good for them, not going to be good to finish. Seidenfeld trying to work around Scully. I actually don't think he's trying to work around Scully. I guess he's just trying to follow the 7 on through. I guess there's no real point in battling because those are the guys who are trying to chase up ahead.
And Chris is in an interesting position here because, again, the Xfinity car does not have very much downforce on it. So he's got to position his car like millimeter perfect to be able to continue to work with James going forward. He's putting air on the right side of the car, which is a good thing to do. Some air on that right side, help get downforce onto the car, help get through the corner and maintain his gap to James so he can do what he's doing right now, give a nice big push, even if he's not on the bumper down the straightaways. That bubble effect does push these cars forward in iRacing, just like you see in real life. Right there, Chris making a nice move. He gets left front down below James, and he's able to close up a ton. They're going to have a huge run down the backstretch.
Yeah, like you mentioned, them just lined up like that, it's going to increase their speed, not by much, but every little bit counts, especially because they're only 1.2 seconds behind the leader. They're starting to make some inroads now. As they've kind of kept themselves tame up inside the top 4. No real changes there. And no real changes further and behind. Talking about Garrett Grant, he's been up and down the order. Some go down, I think, as low as 19th. At one point, he's now currently back up into 8th, so he's starting to make some forward progress. Again, it's a little bit more in the territory of needing a Hail Mary, especially when Davey Hendricks is doing well at the moment. I think actually, in fact, as they run, I think Hendricks would be in. Oh, car on the wall in the background, Ricky Harden.
Harden was a 2-tire stop, so those left sides probably falling off a little bit for him. And
you can see already
not
under
where
steering.
You want to be.
Oh, on the back end, yeah, wow. The back end was just
straddling that first seam, Finian, and that's actually not where you want to be because, like I said, that lower lane here at Michigan just has a little bit less banking. De-wedged the car right there, being on 2 different bankings with the left and the right side, upset the rear, and boom, slide right out into the wall.
Yeah, and he had just no rear going back there. And he's working on through now. This time keeps it. Oh wow, he's wrecking loose off of you. I think not taking those left side tires, is really starting to hurt him. He may have to consider coming to the pits because that car looks wrecking loose. And actually, in fact, I think some guys are hoping for a caution. It's 15. It's probably the closest one looking at it right now because that car does not look drivable.
Yeah, he buzzed the tires real good with that slide, and then he just buzzed them again right there off of turn 2. So he's gonna have quite a few laps to a tough sledding to get himself back to where he feels comfortable driving. Meanwhile, we continue to look at Chris Seidenfeld and James Scioli working together. They've closed the gap down even more. Pay attention. I don't know if you had the chance to look at current speed down the backstretch right here, but these two working together, they're a good mile an hour, 2 miles an hour faster on the straightaways compared to the lead 4. Meanwhile, Cameron Hearn making a move on Ricky Harden.
Yeah, and just trying to get himself up one position, still back in 12th. Notice it's a bit quiet going off. I think he's doing it again. I guess he might as well at this point. I think Elwood is saving fuel.
3-position difference. I mean, a 3-point gap between Davey Hendricks and Cameron Hearn coming into the race. As they stand right now, Davey Hendricks is putting himself into the playoffs over Cameron Hearn. Still a lot of race to go just inside of 57 laps as Alan Elwood and Cameron Hearn continue to try to work through the field while the guys on tires continue to drive away.
Yeah, again, it's really going to be interesting to see if, you know, maybe if those guys that maybe didn't take tires, if it's going to come into play. I think, again, they're going to be hoping that they're going to be a late race caution. They can use that extra set of tires that some of these guys might not have available. And actually, speaking of pit stops, how close are we getting to green flag pit stops? We're about 17, maybe probably 16 or 15 laps on actual green flag running. So how much further till we start seeing these guys duck in?
So 18 laps since they bolted the tires on. Like you said, realistically about 15, 16 laps since we've gone back green flag racing. I would not expect the Xfinity car to get more than maybe 35 laps on a tank. So just about halfway through a fuel stint right now. Gonna have one more stop looking to go. With 55 to go, you're going to see him start pitting right around that 40 to go mark.
There's a chance
to the end of the race.
There's a chance we could see that caution early, and I think I'm looking at one driver here, and there's one driver coming up from behind.
Oh, yeah,
if you're picking up what I'm putting down,
back, and he's getting ever closer to Davey Hendricks. Colin now a lap down.
Yeah, there's not much going on the
down,
track. I got to see if something. We have to see if something happens here. Here comes the 5. I think in behind him is the 94.
Or do we have a Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain at Gateway situation on our hands right here?
Oh, wait.
Colin's going to get to his rear bumper. He's going to try to make something happen.
Yeah, looks like they're not quite done with each other just yet. I think he's going to get a little bit of slipstream. His car is struggling, though. In both the straight line and in the corners. I think that might be all she wrote. Got a little animated there, but nothing too crazy. I don't think the 54 has really got anything to... Oh! Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah, here it comes.
Oh, 94 is going to be in the wall. I think. Either that or he just avoided it.
Smart driving, because first he used Garrett Grant as a pick on the backstretch right there, and then paying attention here, see Colin just decides to send it, try to send it into him. Maybe expecting it. The race control is monitoring the situation. They're already talking to Colin Fambrough from the in-race radio that I can hear. So we're going to see if this is a gateway incident, Finian, but...
Oh, there he goes.
Regardless...
Round 2.
Regardless, he's got his hands full right now.
Didn't quite get past that time by. I want to take a look here. James Scioli, though, working to the inside of the 77, so they've caught both him and Chris Seidenfein working together. They've caught the top 4, now starting to make some inroads here. As the tire is starting to fall off, Scully making a decent move to the inside. Uh-oh, I see those two side by side in the background. Oh, this can get ugly. This can get very ugly. Oh, there it is, into the wall hard. The 54 round caution's going to be out. And the tempers flaring at Michigan. And there goes 54. I think he just got removed.
Colin got his revenge. And as a driver, he got his revenge. The good thing in sim racing is the admins can remove him immediately, which not really much to say about that one, Finian. As a fellow admin of the Cup Series, pretty clear takeout right there from the 54. Entertaining for us. Heck yeah, go nuts in chat, ladies and gentlemen. But Colin Fambrough, not a good look. And he also significantly hurts Davey Hendricks' playoff run right here. Davey may not be able to make the playoffs at this point because Cameron Hearn avoided this. No damage to him, and Davey was chasing Cameron coming into the race. Looks like he's going to be chasing him, leaving the race. Cameron in the driver's seat, barring any mistakes.
And taking a look at him, yeah, completely clear of it. Made sure he didn't get himself involved, but yeah, that was something. you typically don't see stuff like this at a big track like Michigan, but Two drivers, I guess they don't like each other. Apparently, I'm amazed at how much rubbing they like, because you think, once, okay, twice, sure. Three running, I think actually they were involved in all 3 cautions. Yeah, I think they were.
So that fact does check out. But race control, the goal, it's everyone race control is different, Finney, and the main goal here at Area was we're gonna let the drivers place themselves, but whenever they make a move to have to make us step in, we'll step in. So, Brad Slaughter Jr. as the area admin tonight, in coordination with league owner Jacob Bell, they're both watching this event and officiating, and they chose to let things play out. Obviously, Colin had not done anything blatant, except maybe just causing Davey to slow down until that moment right there. Meanwhile, back here at the race off of pit road, everybody on for tires except Finian, David Weishart.
Yep, I was going to say that's what I noted before. Everyone else came in. Staying out, this is a move. I don't quite think it's the best move. I'm trying to think, because he came in twice. I'm curious, did he already pit for tires twice?
I don't believe so. Actually, he might have taken a set on that first yellow. He may have taken a set on the second yellow, which means he only has one set left.
He definitely pit for tires on the second one, because he was 14 seconds on the second. So if he took on the first and he took on the second, I think this is why we're seeing him stay out, is because he only got one set of tires left for the rest of the race. And we're still technically, we're just shy of halfway.
So David's got himself in a pretty tight box here, because he has one of two strategies he can play here. He can play, I'm going to pit when the window opens and hope the race goes green the rest of the way, because his total time is probably going to be pretty similar to these guys that just pit whenever they finally decide to take their final stop, because they cannot make it on fuel from here.
No, I think that's what he's going to be banking on. I think that's probably why he decided to stay out, because we're going to have to make one more stop anyway. So why come in now, and carry those tires all the way? I think this is the best move he can make with what he's got. But this is why you have to be very careful with the tires and when you use them, because you could put yourself in a box like this, and now he's going to be completely, not undrivable, I should say, in the restart, but he's definitely going to drop through the field very quickly on this restart, because Shane Terry and Danny Ware, actually, they only took 2 tires each. I'm not sure which side. I would assume the right, but again, I don't know how they're doing on their tire sets. Everyone else in behind, though, coming in for 4 tires. And they're, I'm sure, going to use their advantage, and I would imagine all of them have a tire set left. I see some guys that have come in 4 times, but I think that might have been for topping off on gas.
Yeah, pretty much the entire field has 1 set left. The only one that is probably a beneficiary right now is James Scioli in the 7. He may still have a second set sitting in the pits, because he did stay out that first caution. So he did not choose to take the extra set here at Michigan. But we'll see as we get set here for the restart. 48 laps to go. Finian can't make it on fuel. These guys are going to be racing the rest of the way.
Indeed. And again, coming around 16 in Michigan. Penultimate round of the season. Getting ready for the restart here in just a little bit. David Weishart going to have the field down to green. I'm not sure how much further he's going to have the lead for, with 25 lap old tires, as he's going to lead them down. Terry, not a good restart at all. James Scioli going to easily overtake the 38 as they get up to speed. And I think going into turn 1, this is not going to be much of a fight.
I'm really surprised to see that Shane was a little bit asleep on the restart. Obviously, probably a little bit of coordination.
Oh, hell of a
there with
77.
Weishart.
Jordan Martin wasting no time to work his way on through. Use his fresh tires. He's going to immediately get past the 38, work to the inside of the 33. No, he's going to try to chase down the 7 of Scioli. And behind them, Chris Seidenfein also working the way on too, and you can start to see those 2 tires not working out well for some of these guys. Darian wrecking loose off of turn 4. Elwood almost getting involved. Hearn almost getting involved as well, as you're going to see 3 wide down the front straightaway.
Cameron Hearn just placing himself where he needs to be. No mistakes the rest of the race, and he's probably looking good for a championship run at Las Vegas next week. Shane, meanwhile, not in the greatest of positions, but he did have a 23-point buffer coming into the race. He's got quite a few positions to give up. So I would not say that's any sort of huge worry right now for the driver of the 38. He's going to get a little help from his teammate there in the 18, Danny Ware. But yeah, Shane and David going backward fast here through the field.
Yeah, and again, that two-tire car not working out for them. I mean, I'm not sure much more what more they could have done. I feel like they're probably in a similar boat to Weishart. Weishart just electing to take no tires. But all three of them dropping to the back very, very quickly. And back up to the lead, though, James Scully. And how about Jordan Martin? Haven't really talked a whole lot about him tonight. Started in 12th, so outside the top 10 in the second half of the field. Hasn't made a whole lot of noise up until this restart, because he might be our leader in just a little bit.
He sat there around the top 5 for a little bit, and he's doing good things right now. Putting that left front right out in that clean air a little bit, get some clean air to the nose, create a little bit of downforce to help turn the car right there. What you need to do in these Xfinity cars, like I said, no downforce. So anything that he can make happen, he's got to run. Will he pull left? No, he's going to choose to stay in line right now. And old serve. Jordan Martin looking pretty good against James Scioli right now here at the front. Chris Seidenfaden.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's
far away. What a surprise that he's following James Scioli right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's entering the fray and about to overtake part of the fray as he goes to the inside of the 77 of Jordan Martin. Actually, very easy pass. I think Martin decided to give it to him. I think felt like the 45 is faster. I think the 45 is faster than the three of them. He's going to try to get to the inside of the 7 off of turn 4. And they're going to 77 though back on the bumper. He's not quite done just yet. Going to help push the 45 to the inside of Scioli, and Scioli can't really fight. He's going to yield at the moment. Maybe try to do the over-under.
Jordan Martin controls a lot of who's going to get the lead right here with these pushes that he's able to get down the straightaways. Obviously, every driver kind of in control of their own destiny through the corners wherever they place their car, but it's like James going to choose to stay behind his pseudo teammate Chris Seidenfaden. Chris drives for David Weishart, the team owner, in different series, but not for team points here in this Xfinity Lodgebox series. James Scioli does, on the other hand, and looks to carry that momentum right now. So he's going to sit tight behind Chris, see what he can do. Jordan Martin now under pressure from Cameron Hearn. Cameron, this is smart racing right here. Slowly ranging up on the back, keeping those tires underneath him.
Also, Alan Ellwood approaching this battle very quickly, so more and more players entering the battle. Hearn up ahead in 4th, Elwood in 5th. I swear every single time we've cut to Alan Elwood, he's always cutting, he's always clutching in to these corners. The man has not stopped saving fuel the entire night.
I still don't think you can make it on fuel, Finian. I mean, unless Alan knows something that I don't. But I wouldn't expect these cars to go much farther than the trucks did, and the trucks were good for about 35 laps on Tuesday night.
We had to go like 50.
Same size fuel tanks. The Xfinity cars are less throttle time, but still, I wouldn't expect them to make it almost 50 laps on a tank of gas. But hey, they may know something I don't. Obviously, they see telemetry that I can't if they are using those telemetry apps that I talked about.
I think fuel aside, though, I don't think the tires will make it 50 laps. I feel like that's a big ask. Considering this fall-off we've seen at some point. So I'll be curious to see if anyone can get the tires to last that long. Considering the difference we've seen in 25-lap tires, I feel like all these guys are going to want to come down for fresh rubber and also the safe mind of making it to the end on gas. But we never know. I think for Elwood, I guess he's maybe just saving just so it's less fuel he has to add. Not sure if that's part of the play. I guess, you know, like I said, it's never too early, or unless it's costing you speed. You know, it doesn't hurt to save fuel. So I guess that's the mindset he's going with here as he's trying to catch back up to the 67. As we have a top 5 breakaway. Robert Kenny doing battle in the 0-1 on the outside of the 1 of Richard Thomas. And Thomas, we talked about time and time again. Him and actually Garrett Grant, who's just off the road in 6th place in the 5 car. Both of them in pretty much must-win scenarios unless something severe happens to Cameron Hearn. We already know that Hendricks is going to be out of the picture with his damaged race car. He's not going to have a chance of winning. He's only been back in 15th.
And it's tough for Hendricks to point his way in. It was a 3-point deficit to Cameron Hearn coming into the race. Obviously, Cameron Hearn running 4th is extending that gap over 15th place running Davey Hendricks. So Davey hoping for a miracle. You know, Finian, you know where the championship race is next week for all 3 series, right?
Vegas.
Going to Las Vegas. It's the place to gamble. Why not start and figure out how to gamble here in Michigan with this strategy? There's going to be guys gambling that there's not a yellow the rest of the race. and get a short stop or short pit a little bit early, get those tires on a little earlier, hopefully improve on the lap time. David Weishart is consistently about a second a lap slower in those 20 lap older tires than the rest of the field. The guys that took tires were leading.
He's currently sitting 8 seconds behind the leaders and dropping. As he's currently running in 12th. I can't imagine he's having a particular happy race. I think he can't wait to come down pit lane and put fresh tires on. He's going to pretty much need a caution to come out to get himself back in the running for anywhere up inside the top 5, because he's way out of the picture now as they run, and he's definitely going to need the field to get back together to have some chance at the top few spots. But Chris Seidenfein leading them through 1 and 2, Scioli, Hearn, Martin, and Elwood. And as we are past halfway, a little past halfway, take our time to thank Swift Lifestyles. Fans, be sure to visit our sponsor, Swift Lifestyles, for clean supplements that help improve your focus and gaining. Use discount code AREA iRacing for 15% off your entire order. We'd like to thank Swift Lifestyles for their support of AREA. And I'm sure everyone's going to be focused now at their fuel calculations and also trying to look at when's the best time to come down to pit lane. We were talking about it earlier too, right? All these guys have to do calculations and doing the math. You have to constantly do that. Every single time a caution comes out, you have to redo your math, figure out when's the optimal time to come in. And you also mentioned too how it's kind of like a road course. You want to spend the least amount of time on pit lane as humanly possible, while also making sure you're out there on the track running the fastest lap possible. So it's a whole bunch of factors coming in to try to decide when you want to come in. You also have to consider to when do your rivals come in?
Yeah, there's a lot of factors that play into this, Finian. And I mean, the easy thing to do, hey, how many laps to go? Okay, divide that number by 2. That's the halfway point of the run. Let's stop then. But of course, like you said, every other driver that you're racing around you can have a factor on when you decide to take those tires. Do you run longer, have better tires later in the race, go on the offensive there in the final 10 laps? Do you think you can play defense better and decide to pit 5 laps early, hold the guys off from behind? There's so many games that can be played, Finney, and we're gonna be watching how these guys choose to play this out. I would not be surprised to see someone like Cameron Hearn maybe run it a little bit later and choose to play the offensive late, compared to maybe a driver like Chris Seidenfaden, who's almost notorious for short pitting, try to play the defensive by pitting earlier.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Even if you feel like you may have to come in, you pitting in early, you might try to force your rivals to come in early just so that they can cover you off and make sure that you don't get that undercut advantage. We'll see what games these guys are going to play. If it's going to be in the pits or out on the tracks, trying to chase down the 45 has not been successful in doing so. He's got to deal with also Cameron Hearn and his Ford Mustang looking pretty fast down the back straightaway. He's going to have a little bit of a look. Going to have a big look down at turn 3.
Pretty cordial there from James Scioli. He said, Cameron Hearn, you're faster. I'll let you have the position there into the entry of 3. Cameron has driven his way up to second now. He is consistently, let's say, just under a 10th faster than these leaders right now. So no surprise that he's worked his way forward. We'll see if he can go snatch some clean air. He's putting some clean air on the right side of that car right now, poking out from behind Chris Seidenfaden.
Yeah, he puts it on the right side, turns down, puts it on the left side for just a little bit. Going to try to get a run off the corner as well. A little bit of slipstream down the back straightaway doesn't hurt, and he's going to go to the inside of the 45. Will Seidenfaden fight him hard? Unlike Scioli, will he give him a break? At the moment, it looks like he's going to give just maybe a little bit of a break. He's not quite. He's going to gas it up. The 45 on the outside. Heron going to slide up in front of the 45. Ooh, almost slid up a little too hard up into the wall.
Crossover to the bottom comes Chris Seidenfaden. I don't know as a driver if you want to play this hard, but this is for the race lead, and you want to be the first one to make the move to pit road. If you're Chris Seidenfaden, in my opinion, like I said, he's notorious for defending, and I think he can get it done. Why not put himself out in front of everybody else, get on those fresh tires earlier, make them have to react to you? Cameron Hearn not giving this up. It's a beautiful side draft down the back straightaway. He's going to try to get the lead here in the bottom of 3.
Yeah, similar to what we saw last time by, is Seidenfaden going to do the same move, going to do a crossover in the 6-7. Looks like Hearn was a little bit more successful this time by. Seidenfaden not as good of a run off the corner. I think that was mostly due to Hearn just not scrubbing off as much speed last time by, but still the 45 going to look to the inside in turn 1. And behind to Alan Elwood making a move on the 77. Jordan Martin. Elwood up into fourth as well as these guys continue to go at it. Hard off of turn 2. Ooh! Touching off of turn 2. 45 almost being sent around by Cameron Hurton. Here comes Scioli trying to take advantage of both of their mishaps and try to poke his nose. Here's Scioli. Where do you go?
He's just looking to pick up pieces, Finian. He's being smart right here, sitting in third. He wants to see how these guys play out. Man, tight there for Cameron. On to the outside of Chris here. He's going to use a little bit of side draft getting off into turn 1. As James Scioli is sitting in his seat, I would just sit back and watch these two because, hey, if they take each other out, man, you are sitting in the driver's seat for the end of this race. What a battle Chris Seidenvaughn's putting on to hold off Cameron Hearn from taking the lead. Cameron's gotten clear, but he's not able to hold on and drive away just yet. This might be his ticket right here. He got the outside for turn 3. He's going to have a better run off the corner here, Finian. I think Cameron Hearn finally has this.
Oh, that 45 is looking a bit sideways. Or at least it looked a little bit more sideways from that view. Definitely lost a lot of speed. I think he was a bit sideways, and you can see he's lost 1, maybe 2 spots. Ellen Elwood now poking himself up into third and behind Scioli, but it looks like Seidenvaughn's out of the battle for now.
He'll lose this spot to Jordan Martin as well right there. When I say buzz the tires, that slide just generates so much heat, especially on that right rear tire. And when you generate more heat on a tire, you're just going to lose more grip out of it. Less grip out of the right rear means you're definitely going to be way looser and tail happy throughout the corner. So expect Chris to eventually lose this spot to Jordan behind him. Meanwhile, Alan Elwood, nice move there on James Scioli. Put those two at the front again. Cameron Hearn, Alan Elwood, they were the front runners at Auto Club earlier in the season. No surprise to see them up front here at Michigan, the same 2-mile over.
They're bumping each other down the front straightaway, though, trying to, I guess, both push each other up to the 67. As caution, or not caution, sorry, maybe a caution is looming, we quite don't know. But pit stops definitely looming over the horizon for a majority of the field. These guys definitely have to come down and make one more stop unless they are hypermiling, which I don't think they are at the pace they're going at. I think we're going to see pit stops at one point. Question is, when is it going to happen? David Weiser, he's already come down for service to his 33. He just came in 3 laps ago, and he's good to go till the end.
And that was an interesting strategy call because these guys aren't, the leaders are not too far from the halfway point of this final stint, assuming no more yellows in the race. So David choosing to short pit it a little bit. That also makes up for the time that he lost on those older tires. Now, David's hoping no yellow. He does not want to see anything until he at least gets back on lead lap. Probably no yellow for the rest of the race is the best case scenario for the 33. But I think just on those old tires, Finian, too much time lost for the 33. That I don't think he can get himself back into the contention for the win. Probably contention for definitely a top 10, maybe a top 5, but tough sledding the rest of the way for David Weishart.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that he didn't just decide to stay out and just kind of hope for the caution to come out, just give him a better shot, because he's not fighting for the championship points. He's just out of it. So kind of surprised he didn't just try to do a little bit of a Hail Mary, but I think just trying to recover what he can left of this race. Looking at Jordan Martin sitting in 5th. Trying to be on the attack on Chris Seidenvaughan. Travis Beckner and a few others have joined this battle. We saw the top 5 breakaway for majority of this run. They've kind of reeled themselves back. In fact, there's David Weishart in the red and white car in the background trying to unlap himself. He's 1 lap down after getting service to his car. Garrett Grant also sitting in 7th place. You see 33 rocket around these guys as pit stops underway. Here we go. First set of drivers down. Scioli going to be bringing them down hard into pit lane. First set of green flag pit stops too. So I hope these guys practice coming down to pit lane.
Garrett Grant all but hit the back bumper of Jordan Martin getting onto pit road there, but that is min-maxing your pit road entrance perfectly right there for the driver of the number 5. We'll get a replay of it here on Sim TV. Watch this pit road entry from Garrett Grant.
Ooh. It's really tricky, right? Because some guys run it, some guys do a little bit cautiously coming down. Some guys are a little bit more aggressive coming on down. You gotta hope that you don't have someone aggressive coming in behind, because if they're a little too aggressive, they're gonna punch you out of the way. Here comes the next set. Alan Ellwood coming in. Oh, sorry, Cameron Hearn coming in. Alan Ellwood staying out the 28 of Travis Beckner. You see a little bit of a lockup from him. He's come on down. We'll see Jacob Hutz in the background. He's coming down as well.
Smart move from the Weishart L boys right there. Jordan Martin, Chris Seidenvaughan, and the likes that came down on that first set of drivers to hit pit road. That was one lap before we hit the halfway point of the stint. Hearn and Beckner right now, that was the halfway point of the stint they just pit on. So, like I said, splitting it right in half for this final run, assuming no yellow. So good move from the Bell Weisford guys, because they get on that fresher tire just a lap earlier. They can gain a significant amount of time. Fresh tires, you're running somewhere in the mid 39-second bracket. Meanwhile, old tires, you're in the mid 41s.
As far as Elwood didn't decide to come on down, he's going to stay on an extra lap. So I guess he's going to just try to do the overcut. Either that or maybe hope for a caution to come out. I'm not sure what his plan is, but I guess he decided to just stay out there. And again, he's in a position he can afford to kind of play a little bit riskier of a strategy. Just kind of hope things come to him. And I think Richard Thomas is a similar boat. He technically can't afford to play a risky strategy because he's out. He needs every point he can get, but I think he's so many points out. I think he's just trying to throw a Hail Mary strategy. Hope a caution comes out, and that'll put him in a pretty decent spot.
Yeah, this is a win situation for Garrett Grant and Richard Thomas, the two guys that were more than 18 points on the playoff cut line. They need to win at this point in the race, and Richard choosing to play the long game here, see if he can make it happen. Now,
ooh, here's an interesting thing. Sorry to cut you off. So here's an interesting thing I noticed coming back. Jordan Martin's actually ahead of James Scioli by a little bit. Reason being because he only took, I think, fuel only 6 seconds down in the pits.
Fuel only for Jordan Martin and Jose Ruiz, as Jose is now getting past for position there by James Scioli. Meanwhile, 4 tires except for Shane Terrian. He had a 2-tire stop right there. Or excuse me, he has not pit yet. That was a 2-tire stop under the last yellow we documented. So he is
he's struggling. He's 16 seconds back from Elwood, speaking, which has decided to finally come in and surrender the lead of the race. So he's going to definitely be behind the other guys that pit. Again, not sure he's deciding to just come back with fresher tires and see what he can make up. We'll see what he's got planned in that 49 if he's feeling he's got the speed, need for speed to try to catch back up and pass everyone else. But Terrian actually just working his way past him. Or sorry, that's Terrian, not Scioli. Scioli now coming through 3 and 4. Coming back onto the front straightaway and across the line. And Elwood just now leaving his box.
So all those guys, 4 tires and fuel, so they're pretty much on the same strategy. Jordan Martin really the only one out here on the fuel-only strat that's going to make it work. Jose Ruiz still does actually have to stop one more time. He was just, unfortunately, that far off of the lead pack. He was battling for position with the guys that have just stopped. Cameron Hearn, fastest lap on track last lap for car 67. As you see Richard Thomas coming off pit road with these slightly fresher tires. So overcut in the sense of they got fresher tires here. Finian, Alan Elwood, Richard Thomas for the end part of the race. We're going to try to use this fresher rubber to put the offensive up in these final 20 laps.
You see Elwood getting past Davey Hendricks. He's currently 32 seconds behind the leader. That's Robert Kenny. He's currently sitting about 6-7 seconds behind James Scioli for what's going to effectively be the race lead once this all cycles out. But Scioli, no clear competition in behind him, at least directly, though. He's got about a 1.3 second lead back to Seidenfeiden. And Cameron Hearn trying to work his way past 45.
So Robert Kenny on pit road now. So Shane going to take over the lead there in the 38 car. Leaves Scioli about 8 seconds trailing.
Oh, here comes Hearn.
But this is your battle right here. Cameron Hearn to the inside of Chris Seidenfeiden. Nice move with fresher tires. Chris maybe trying to hold on, not burn as much tire here at the early part of the run. He's going to have a hard time hanging on to Cameron Hearn without any yellow help and definitely no draft help around him. He's just going to have to follow the 67 right now.
We're coming to the closing stages of this race. 20 laps left to go. Many things can go right. Many things can go wrong. Who knows? We could still have the chance at a late race caution. You never quite know till it's over. In behind them, Garrett Grant, Travis Beckner duking it out for 5th place.
Driver is putting himself in the position he needs to be in right
now.
now.
Elwood, wow, coming with a head full of steam, almost doored the 77 out of the way.
Big move there, fresher tires.
Oh,
man,
77
Jordan almost caught the wall. Remember, Jordan in the 77 not on fresh tires. He's on fuel only right now. So sliding there from 7th back to 9th as Jose Ruiz also slides on by. Remember, Jose actually still has to make the stop here in the 23 car. He's not good to the end yet. So Gordon effectively 8th place currently. The driver I was mentioning there, the driver who's put himself in the position he needs to right now is Garrett Grant. Now he just needs to capitalize on where he's at on the track at this point. He's got himself up to 5th place. He just needs to close the gap to the guys in front and put himself in a position to win this race. Remember, he has to basically win here, Finian. He wants to get himself through the championship round.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys just kind of praying and hoping for a caution, right? Because as the way they run, he's got no shot, especially with Cameron Hearn directly ahead of him. He's got to just hope for a caution to come out, absolute chaos to unfold, and somehow he emerges through the smoke with either a really solid delta on Hearn or straight up race win. At the moment, though, he's trying to battle with Travis Beckner for 5th place, but it's tough being a driver in this situation, knowing there's not really much more he can do. He's having a pretty good day, sitting 5th or 6th, but unfortunately, it's not enough to overcome his points deficit in the playoffs.
Any other point in the season, earlier part of the season, Finian, solid night for the 5 car, as you mentioned. But it's playoff crunch time, and you need to be in the position to win this race. And Eric, while he's on the leaderboard sitting really nice there in 6th with one driver still ahead that needs to pit, effectively 5th, he's got a lot of ground to make up. Like I said, he's got to close that gap down here in the next 20 laps. I also want to pick up a note on Davey Hendricks in the 94 car. So Davey has not made his final stop yet. He is banking on a caution for his playoff hopes, which, with what we've seen today, Finian, I would not rule out.
No.
But it's looking increasingly hard for the 94 to find a way into the playoffs without that late race caution.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I mean, I guess depending on who you deem the instigator of that whole scenario with Colin Farmer, leave your thoughts on that in the comments below on both Twitch, on the Area Twitch channel, Area iRacing Twitch channel, or on the SimTV YouTube channel, whichever you want to debate on who started that. But either way, whoever started it, it's the 94 that's looking like he's going to have his hopes ended here at Michigan, which unfortunately, because his car did seem like he had some pace, just couldn't quite get there, or really couldn't stay away from the 54, or whether you think he was the one that started or not. And it's got severe damage, and you just have to deal with it for now. Also taking a look, here comes Alan Elwood with a head full of steam to the inside of the 5. No contest there.
Whichever side you fall on, and this incident will be talked about for weeks to come. Regardless, we had some entertainment tonight, Finian, and that's what I like to see from the broadcast booth. From race control aspect, not so much, but regardless, it's been a fun night up here in the booth with you. Hey, you also mentioned about the Area iRacing Twitch, right?
Yeah, I was actually just about to say that. I thought you were talking about entertainment. I was actually going to try to plug in Elite Entertainment, but that's not on the sponsor read. That would have been perfect segue. But no, I was just going to mention the Area iRacing Twitch. As I mentioned before, fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel for only $5 a month. You can watch all the Area broadcasts commercial free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in chat. Who doesn't like emotes? You'll also be able to earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise. And let me tell you, the way these guys have been racing, you're definitely going to want to subscribe, especially for the upcoming season. We're still working out the details, but SimTV will be coming back to broadcast this series. I'm not sure which of the 3. I think maybe only 2. We still have to work out the kinks, and that is Beckner catches a little piece of the wall. But definitely can't wait to cover the action for these guys going forward. They put on fantastic racing these last few weeks, and even tonight, it's still not over yet.
Hey, pop a bottle of champagne. That's announcements I like to hear for 1,000, Alex. SimTV back for at least another season in a couple series. And also, to elaborate on what Travis Beckner did right there, he hit the wall without hitting the wall, Finian. Could not have parked his right rear any closer to that wall. He did not actually catch it. It was as if he was running Darlington, which is a little far away from Michigan. But that actually is not good news for the 28. That means he's got a tight race car and not conducive to speed over the long run.
Yeah, I mean, 12 laps may not seem like a lot of laps to go. That's still a decent amount of racing left, especially for cars already starting to fall off, especially feel tight on exit. You're definitely going to want to make sure you back up your corners a little bit more, otherwise you're going to find yourself closer and closer to that wall and potentially in the wall before the race is over. But Alan Elwood working his way up through. He's 2.3 seconds behind. Do we feel like he may have a chance at catching the leaders?
I was just getting ready to cap up on that for you, Finian. So Alan Elwood, last lap time of 40.72 across the line. Meanwhile, the two leaders you're looking at here, James Scioli, Cameron Hearn, 40.95 and 40.88 respectively. So Hearn definitely in a good position to maybe make a move here on James Scioli. But Alan's got 2.5 seconds of deficit that he needs to close down at only about a tenth, maybe 2/10 a lap. At 10 laps remaining, that's not enough. He's going to need to find a little more pace, or these two get to battling like they're about to do. Pushing the 7 down the front straightaway. He's going to pull to the right here into turn 1.
Almost pull him to the wall. Garlic was about to spin into the wall with how aggressively he cranked the wheel. But trying to look to the outside, the 7 a little bit loose in 2. And I imagine the 67 going to take advantage. And look at the speed deficit due to the 7 slipping out of the corner. Hearn taking advantage and going to take the lead here. Doing a slide jump on entry there, and the 7 cranking. You can see a puff of smoke as he's trying to force the car down below the seam to get something on the 67, but looks like that car has got nothing left to give, so Hearn going to take the lead.
And at this point, barring a yellow, not good news for James Scioli. The momentum of the last 3 weeks and the last 3 wins he's had, great. It's got him up to second, but he's got a lap older tires than Cameron right here. And it looks like Cameron has taken slightly better care of him, especially with that move off of 2 with the slide with James, and then really hurting him, getting down on the bottom there at 3. He's got to sit back here behind Cameron, get himself collected, Finian, and then he'll try to make one more charge at it if he can get his tires to behave with him the last 9 laps.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious to see if he has anything to charge left with. It looks like he might have used all he could. I think knowing that he didn't quite have much for the 67 if he got past. But Hearn looking like he's got the stronger car at the moment. And definitely doing everything that Hearn definitely doing everything he needs to get done just to secure that spot. We know that he's pretty much good, again, bar something catastrophic happening in these last few laps. But having a really solid race, and looks like he might be able to break that playoff streak that Sco's been building up of wins in all 3 of the first 5 races of this playoffs.
Something significant that we did not just catch on our cameras just happened. Shane Terrian in the 38 blew a tire. Did not have any tire sets left on the rights. He's said over the radio, "Rip my tire." So car 38 has destroyed a right front. It looks like we'll see what happens here into turn 3. This was a couple laps ago, as he was continuing to run on old tires. And bang, right there, into 3, blown tire, no yellow, which seriously hurts him, but with a 23-point gap on the cut line and the way the cut line has played out tonight, with Davey Hendricks having trouble, Shane pretty much locked into the playoffs at this point. And Cameron Hearn going to nab himself some momentum if James Scioli can't get back to him. But this spells doom right here. Cameron Hearn being in clean air for Alan Ellwood. Alan not fast enough in terms of lap time to close the gap here with 6 laps to go.
Yeah, he's only a couple hundredths of a second faster than the 67, which is nice, but not good enough. I'm kind of here. I mean, obviously the 49 Elwood, I think he felt pretty confident. I think we decided, I'll stay out, maybe hope a caution comes out, and then I got a chance at an easy win compared to my competitors. But unfortunately did not play out that way for the 49, so he put himself in a little bit of a hole. Still going to finish 3rd. That's not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but doesn't quite look like he's got anything for the win at the moment. Unless Gosh comes out.
Of course, the yellow can change everything here, and who has tire sets left at that point? Maybe James Scioli would be the only one with a set left. 5 laps to go now for Cameron Hearn in 67. Finian, James has done things well tonight. I just don't know that without that yellow, his 3-week win streak may come to a close at the mercy of Cameron Hearn.
Yeah, I mean,
decided clean air was king, and he is proving that tonight.
Yeah, and really the only difference between the two strategy-wise, Hearn came in a lap later after the 7. Again, not sure if that's necessarily the deciding factor, but definitely something that plays in the 67's favor. I think Hearn just able to make the tires work better in this last stint, get up and going, and just had more pace. Also had the time to do it, unlike with Elwood, who's still 1.8, 1.7 seconds back from the leader.
That decision by the Elwood Design Esports team, while I see the the strategy behind it, be on the fresher tires in the offensive to the end of the race, ultimately has spelled their doom tonight. In terms of a race win, Allen, like we documented, not on pace. Richard Thomas also not anywhere with pace. He's actually a little bit slower than the driver ahead of him, Robert Kenny. But Robert Kenny also stayed out way later on his tires than anyone else. But Richard not in a position to get himself a win. Looks like it's going to be just quite a few handful of points short of a championship berth. So he'll fall to the masses of everyone else in the points in terms of where they'll finish for the rest of the season. And off to see James Scioli, Alan Elwood, Shane, and probably Cameron Hearn off for a championship 4 battle in Las Vegas next week.
Yeah, that's a really solid run. I think those top 4 definitely earn their places, and it's going to be an interesting race going into the final round. I mean, with all those guys pretty much near the top of the running. Except for Terrian, of course, who this race has really not gone to do. In fact, Terrian has just decided to keep it off the track. I'm not surprised with the amount of damage he's gotten, but Terrian otherwise fairly quick, especially in the mile and a half, so definitely expected him to be up there as well as the rest of this top 3 as the laps wind down. 2 laps left to go for the 67. I think he can't wait to just see the white flag and have everything secured with his Ford Mustang.
In the backyard of Ford, headquarters not too far away here from Michigan International Speedway. Cameron Hearn going to see the white flag right here. This is his race at this point to lose. What an incredible drive here in this final stint of the race for the car 67. Finian, he's played his hand perfectly, hitting 1 lap later than James Scioli, who was then ahead of him. And it's going to pay off big for 67.
Yeah, we've seen a bunch of guys coming up and down through the field the entire night. Never quite knew who had it to win. You see a little bit of a shake going off in the corner. I think a little bit happy there as he's setting the car into 3 and 4. We see many guys come up and down through the order. And as 6-7 comes out of turn 4, he's the one after all the smoke is cleared. He's going to be one up on top. It's going to be Cameron Hearn taking the checkered flag at Michigan, punching his way to the playoffs. Not that he was in a hole already, but definitely going to secure it here with a solid W going in to Las Vegas. He's going to pull off a very nice drift into turn 1.
David Weishart going to pit Richard Thomas here at the line. Insignificant for Richard's playoff chances. Like we said, not needed a win to get himself to Las Vegas. Unfortunately, he will not. Jordan Martin capping off a great top 10 there. He did that without any tires.
Cameron Hearn getting a congratulatory bump from the 28 of Travis Beckner. As he works his way back to the front straightaway. And gonna light him up down and tear up the grass. There he goes.
Celebratory moments here for Cameron Hearn. The CNC logging Ford Mustang at Michigan. What a way, Finian, to punch his ticket to the championship round. Good on points, yeah, but he just stole a win from James Scioli in terms of strategy, and this gives him the momentum rolling into Las Vegas. We said it was momentum for James Scioli. It was vantage James Scioli coming in on a 3-race win streak. Cameron Hearn now proving he's got the momentum.
Yeah, a solid parking job. Going to park it in Gatorade Victory Lane. They really need to change the sponsorship on that. I don't think Gatorade sponsored Victory Lane for a while. But nonetheless, Aaron not going to care. Victory Lane is Victory Lane. And with that, we'll cut through and go through your finishing order here. As you mentioned again, Cameron Hearn taking home the top spot. James Scioli, Alan Ellwood, solid top 3. All of those guys really had a solid shot throughout the entire race, but it's going to be Cameron Hearn, the top of them, of those 3. Beckner, Grant, good race for the number 5, but like we mentioned before, it's not quite good enough to get him through the next round. Chris Seidenfeld, we saw him try to have a very solid battle up in the front, didn't quite have the strategy work out for him. And back in 6th, Robert F. Kenny in 7th, with Weishart in 8th. Thomas in 9th, again, also going to be missing on the playoffs, with Jordan Martin rounding out your top 10.
Tough nights for the back half of the field. Danny Ware coming home 11th, 24 seconds adrift Jacob Hudson in the 22, just behind him in 12th. Jose Ruiz, I think he was out of tires at the end of the race, almost one lap down. Matthew Rodriguez, definitely out of tires at the end of the race there, as well as Davey Hendricks. We well documented the troubles for the 94 tonight with the 54 of Colin Fambro, who also finished down there in 17th. Shane Terrian between them, who popped the tire there with about 15 to go. Ricky Harden in 18th. Bryce Senesac, not a good night for his chances at the playoffs. He came in 9 points out. Unfortunately, with damage, he did not even get a chance to really race for it. Andrew Santo capping off your field in 20th position. So, tale of two sides there. Finian on the leaderboard. Top half, great nights. Bottom half, some rough sledding.
Indeed, we'll talk with the guys who've had some pretty solid nights. And I've got a lot to look forward to, not just for tonight, but for the next round, the final round of the season, the playoffs for the area Lodgebox series. But first, got Alan Ellwood, your third place finisher. Alan, we saw you try to pull something off there with the overcut. Unfortunately, didn't quite work out for you, at least in terms of the race win.
Yeah, I just had too many cars to pass. The right front kind of fell off at the end. I still had more pace than those guys by maybe a tenth, but at that point, with like 5-6 laps left, you're not going to catch them. So disappointing, because I feel like that's 3 out of 4 races in the playoffs I probably should have won, and didn't quite come out in my favor. But all of them really don't matter, and next one's the one that really counts. So hopefully the strategy will work out a little better next week, and we can come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, obviously talking about next week, right? Because that's where all the money's going to be on the line. What's the game plan? I know obviously you need to be the one to come up on top of the other 3 guys you're competing with, but do you have anything special, anything, any sort of strategy you got, or do you maybe want to keep your lips sealed on that?
I mean, I don't have any strategy necessarily, but Vegas is probably arguably my best mile-and-a-half track, and so I feel really good about taking this car and coming out on top there. Of course, you got to finish a race, and I have the qualifying speed. Everybody's seen that, but lately I just quite haven't been able to seal the deal in a race. So, looking forward to hopefully doing that next week and bring home the title.
Well, Alan Elwood definitely confident going into the final round next week at Vegas. Alan, best of luck to you for the championship race.
Appreciate it.
Moving on to our second place finisher. Unfortunately for James Scully, the record was broken, won all the playoff races up until this point, and only by 1 place, and ended up coming home in second. But James, I don't think you can be too mad with the way things have played out.
No, definitely can't be too upset with that. Obviously, you want to win, you want to go 4 in a row, which would have been pretty crazy, but Michigan's just not a track that I've ever really enjoyed. Didn't really put in any practice for today, just kind of wanted to see how it would go throughout the race, and they were just much better at making speed while keeping the tires underneath them. I just couldn't do it the way that Hearn and Elwood could. I thought that I was saving, but I just had no grip towards the end of a run, so hats off to Hearn. He was definitely fast. I figured Elwood probably pitted a little bit too late to catch us, but he was still catching me pretty fast at the end, so I was still a little bit worried, but nonetheless, definitely can't be mad with a second place and that being my worst finish in the playoffs so far.
Yeah, I also just want to ask about you too. You've been on a roll. I mean, other than a 14th at Talladega, which you can barely count in with stats because Talladega just messes up all kind of statistics. In 6 of the last 7 races, you finished inside the top 3. Does that make you feel more confident going to this final round, especially knowing you got some stiff competition?
Yeah, definitely pretty confident going in. We've had, like I said, a pretty good run to start the playoffs, so definitely confident. I like Vegas, definitely a lot more than I like Michigan, so hopefully I can run good there. I did drive the setup just a little bit. It drives not exactly how I would like it to, so definitely going to be a bit of a learning curve there, but I think I got as good a chance as anybody to get this championship.
Well, unfortunately for Scully, the record was broken, but still has a chance to pick up 4 out of 5 playoff wins if he can get it done next week at Vegas. James, best of luck to you in the championship race.
Thank you, and big thanks to Rick's Hot Sauce, Bellwise Hard Esports, for sticking with me. I was hoping we could get one of our other teammates, Bryce or Garrett, to win and get him in, but just wasn't meant to be tonight. And thanks to you guys in the booth for all you do, all the admin teams. I know there was some extracurricular activities going on in this one, so thanks to them for trying to keep the peace. And yeah, see you guys next week.
All right, and last but certainly not least, your race winner, Cameron Hearn. Cameron, I'm sure you're absolutely elated to take a win coming into the final round of the season, the championship race where all the money's on the line. What are your thoughts going in?
Glad to get the win. There's a moment where Davey was in the top 10. I think I was going 12 to 13 on different tire strategy, and I thought I played the wrong strategy. I know there's some crazy stuff going on. I really didn't see what was going on. It was too far back, but kind of hate it for Davey, to have it end like that. But someone else's misfortune helped me out and played to my strategy, got on the same tires as the other guys, and had a chance to win the race. I felt like I was fast in the top, fastest cars all race, so good momentum going into next week. I'm not staying with Elite Gaming next season, so I want to end it out on a strong note for the team.
Yeah, definitely a way to have a send-off with a team than to get a championship. There's no really better way to do it. Cameron, what are your thoughts going into Vegas? Obviously, you got a win going into that final round, so how do you feel about your championship hopes?
I like Vegas a lot. I don't think I'll be the fastest one-lapper or two-lapper, which I never am, but I feel like I'm pretty strong on long runs. So hopefully it stays green. There's no weird pit strategy. There's no weird tire strategy that comes into effect. It's your own race. I'd love to have a caution-free race, but you got to be prepared to see what the guys doing behind. You're racing the top 3 or 4 guys in championships, and make sure you're keeping pace with what they're doing. And I'll probably follow what they're doing if they're pitting. Hopefully they all pit together. I'll pit with them. But having a shot to win the championships, what you shoot for the whole year, and we got a shot at it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, and well, it was a fantastic run here tonight. We'll see if you can repeat it in the final round next week, Cameron. Best of luck to you.
I appreciate it. Shout out to my mom and dad. Probably my only 2 fans out there watching every week. Love you. And look forward to next week. You'll tell if I'm in a good mood tomorrow for winning, and hopefully next week I'll be in a good mood or a bad mood on Friday. We'll find out.
We'll definitely find out indeed, Cameron. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks.
And actually, I said last but certainly not least, you're going to have another last but certainly not least, Shane Terrian. We'll talk to him. The final of the 4 moving on. Unfortunately, Terrian, it definitely was not the night that you wanted to enter the final 4 with. But walk us through how your race went. Where did it go wrong?
Well, it's going to sound mean, but it went wrong when the admins decided not to remove a guy that was saying he was going to wreck someone and manipulate this race and just ruin the strategy. So that's all I can say is that's where it went wrong, because I think the top 6 and then a couple others had the right strategy, because we just all assumed after he made that comment the admins were going to take care of it and we would be good to go with no more yellows, but it didn't play out that way, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, I know going into next round, you're obviously going to try to put this week back behind you, especially when you got 3 very solid guys to compete with. What are your thoughts going in now? What do you got for the other 3 being Skyoli, Elwood, and Hearn?
I'm going to have to do a different strategy because those guys have way more speed than I do at 1.5 miles. So, I mean, unless they wreck, I'm going to just be there like I was last year. So, I'll take the Final 4 again for the 2nd year, but just not a track that I'm going to be too good at. I can't save the tires and these things.
Well, Terrian, regardless, you still got the shot. We'll see. Best of luck to you in the Final 4 next week.
Thank you.
And that's going to wrap it up, and we'll take a look here at your that did not scale that right. Hang on one second. I had this scale to the point standings. I thought that would work out perfectly. It did not. Hang on, let me do a little bit quick fix of this on the broadcast.
I have a rule of thumb for you, Finian. Technology's wonderful when it works properly, but when it does not, man, it can be a pain in the butt.
Hey, it could be worse. Could be worse. Managed to get it on screen there. But there's a picture of your Final 4 going into the last round of the season at Vegas for the Area Lodgebox Series. And man, looking at that, what a Final 4. Genuinely have no idea who is going to be out on top across all the 4 of them. I'm not just saying that just to build up hype. Generally don't know, because all of them have been really fast at different parts of the season. And it's funny too, because 3 of them said that Vegas is their favorite track. Obviously, for one of them, it's probably going to be only their favorite track after the race is over. Terrian feeling like he's out on the outside looking in, but as you've seen tonight, never quite know what can happen.
Of the few 1.5 miles that we've raced this season, Finian, in reality, that's only actually been 2 races. It was Kansas back in May. Davey Hendricks is the winner out of that one. The other winner was Ellwood on Charlotte Oval back in June. I don't really count Homestead in there because it is quite a different mile and a half track to the cookie cutter type, but James Scioli was also the winner there. So 2 points there for the 7 and the 49. Shane, I agree with him. I mean, he's probably low man on the totem pole going into that race. He's going to see what he can do to improve upon that. But winningest driver in area history currently is Cameron Hearn. I just don't know if you could pull your money away from that 67 car with how much speed he has week in and week out. It's going to be quite the title bout in Vegas next Thursday night.
Yeah, absolutely going to be looking forward to seeing how it unfolds, and you're definitely going to want to tune in to see how it unfolds, because it is definitely going to be a fantastic race to see who's the championship driver, winner of the championship for this season. But for now, we're going to be signing out. My name is Finn Kuna here with Eric Weiland, and we're going to be signing out from tonight here at Michigan.